The dummy wore a traditional Puro costume. At least, I guess it was a dummy. I gave the dummy Puro a tentative prod, but it didn't move. She reminded me of a girl I dated back in high school. Come to think of it, the dummy had more personality. As I was about to touch the dummy, I realized it had the same color eyes as Nico. The strange thing was, I hadn't realized I'd noticed the color of Nico's eyes. It was an antique phonograph, the kind you have to wind by hand. The guy's spoon-shaped face was mournful and humorless. He looked like a vegetarian in a slaughterhouse. Excuse me?
Bonjour, monsieur. Please, come in. Welcome. Leave the mundane world behind, for in these four walls, fantasy is king.
I don't want a costume.
Didn't you ever dress up when you were a child?
Not that I remember.
Incredible! You'll be telling me next that you never shared your elder sister's lingerie.
I don't have a sister, and I think I'd look pretty silly in a brassiere. I just need some information.
Of course. How can I help you?
Have you heard of a man named Plantile?
I do not recall anyone of that name.
I'm looking for a man who hired a clown costume from you.
Oui, monsieur. I do not see how I can help.
Don't you keep a record of costumes that you've rented out?
Of course, monsieur, but...
Well, then I'd like to check your records. Give me the names of everyone who's rented a clown suit.
Impossible. There are too many.
The clown I'm looking for is a cold-blooded killer. Give me his name, and I'll see he's brought to justice.
I'd help you if I could, but you can't expect me to remember all my customers. You see, the clown costume is our most popular line, monsieur. On average, we hire out more than 30 clown suits a week. You'll have to give me more to go by. A description, perhaps?
Do you recognize this man?
Ah oui, he was here this morning.
Do you want this red nose back?
Not after it's been worn, thank you.
Does this dirty tissue mean anything to you?
Let me smell that. Bestheimer's number 7 white pancake.
Theatrical grease paint, right?
Oui, monsieur. La crème de la crème of Thespian accoutrement.
Have you sold any of it recently?
Yes, 2 cans.
About this tissue.
I have already given you my professional opinion.
How come clowns are so popular?
I think it has something to do with their unpredictable nature.
Personally, I think clowns should be banned, along with mimes.
Oh, come now. Who doesn't love clowns?
Me, for one. Are you sure this is the man who bought grease paint?
Oui, monsieur. He chose 2 costumes. Bozo the clown and Seamus the pixie.
A pixie?
Very smart. Green silk with a taffeta lining. He gave me his name as Monsieur Khan.
Are you sure this is the same man who hired the clown suit?
Certainement, Monsieur Khan.
What does this tool mean to you?
Nothing, monsieur.
Are you sure this is the same man who hired the clown suit?
Certainement, Monsieur Khan.
Thanks for your help, buddy.
My pleasure, monsieur. Allow me to shake you by the hand.
Huh? Well, okay. What are you trying to do, kill me?
You did not find it amusing?
I never saw the funny side of electroshock therapy.
Eh bien, it is yours to keep. A gift?
Do I need a license?
No, but I give you a word of warning, monsieur.
What?
Remember to switch it off before you visit the toilet.
Hi.
You're the guy who gave me the tip, aren't you?
Huh?
The racehorse, Salah-ed-Din.
Oh. Yeah, but
I put every franc I had on that horse.
listen,
My lifetime savings, next month's rent, everything.
Oh, God.
She won by 3 lengths. I'm a rich man.
Call me Lucky George, the punter's friend. So how come you're still here?
I'm not going to let my newfound wealth change me, not one bit. I bought this hole, fittings and all. Now I can come and go as I please. No more clocking on or completion schedules. No foreman breathing down my neck. Thanks to you, I've found paradise.
I'm getting a mushy feeling in my chest. But not half as mushy as your head.
What do you want now?
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, I don't.
What do you make of this clown's nose?
It would be more amusing if you were wearing it.
Do you recognize this tissue?
Certainly not.
Would you like to shake hands with me?
No, I wouldn't. One of the real pleasures of being rich is not having to be polite.
I gotta go.
Don't let me keep you.
Hello? Who is this? It's George Stobart again. What now? I found out the name of the guy I'm looking for. Is that so? Yeah. It's Khan. You know who I'm talking about, don't you? Yes, I delivered the suit to his hotel. The Hotel Ubu. I don't remember the room number. It was upstairs. The second room on the right-hand side of the corridor. Thanks, Todrick. That's all I wanted to know. Now I've got you, Mr. Clown. The guy looked just like a weasel. The man looked like an amiable Bigfoot. Excuse me.
Yes?
Do you know a man by the name of Khan?
No, I don't.
It's very important I get to see him, and
I told you. I don't know it.
I'm looking for a clown.
Are you trying to be funny?
No, I really am looking for a clown.
There are no clowns here except you.
Have you heard of a guy called Plantar?
No, that name means nothing to me.
Do you recognize the guy in this photograph?
No, I never saw it.
Will you shake my hand?
Are you joking? Who knows where it has been?
Forget it. Excuse me.
Yeah?
Do you happen to know a guy named Khan?
That ain't nobody I know.
I'm sorry to be a burden on your brain. You ever meet a guy called Plantow?
No, I ain't.
You missed your chance. If you're quick, you'll catch him at the coroner's. Have you seen a guy dressed as a clown?
No, I ain't. Don't tell me I missed him. Oh, that's too bad. I love the clowns, don't you?
I've seen daytime television that was funnier.
I love it when the little guys get hyped.
That figures.
Custard pies, hose pipe down the pants, then smack! A plank in the kisser.
Do you recognize the guy in this photograph?
Is this a trick question?
No, I simply asked if you recognized him.
Okay then. Nope, I don't.
Shake my hand.
Nah.
Oh, rats. Have you ever seen this clown's nose before?
Nope.
See you later.
Not if you see me first.
The woman was obviously English. She had all the qualities of Boadicea, Elizabeth I, and Margaret Thatcher rolled into one. It wasn't a pretty sight. The figure of a sexless youth was frozen in mid-skip with a silly grin on its stone lips. In the ornate booth was the most elegant public telephone I'd ever seen. I recognized the guy. It was the Nobel Prize winner from the country whose name I couldn't pronounce. It was a magnificent old Steinway piano. Hi there, ma'am.
Well, hello. What can I do for you?
I'm looking for a man.
You disappoint me, my dear. For one foolish moment I thought... But never mind. Aren't you going to tell me your name?
George Stobart, ma'am.
How sweet! I once had a stable boy called George. I am Lady Piermont. The common reaction is to kneel and stutter, but it's not obligatory.
A real lady? I mean, you're an honest-to-God aristocrat?
Oh, I don't know about that. Few of my ancestors are honest, not even to God. I can trace my family back to the Normans, but don't let that intimidate you, George. Beneath that impressive pedigree, I'm just flesh and blood. The blood may be blue, but the flesh is the plump beef of old England, so to speak. You appear distracted, George. Is there any way I can help you?
I'm looking for a murderer.
Good heavens! You're a private detective.
That's correct, ma'am.
What's the term you Americans use? It's on the tip of my tongue.
I believe what you're thinking of is Dick.
Precisely.
Have you come across a man who calls himself Khan?
I am familiar with only one person named Khan.
Genghis Khan, the legendary Mongol barbarian chieftain?
No, darling. Kevin.
Kevin Khan? I never heard of him.
I'd be most surprised if you had, darling. He's a pharmacist in Hemel Hempstead. Organises fundraising for the Rotarians. Lovely man.
Does he have a scar on his cheek?
I really wouldn't know, sweetie.
Did you know there's a gangster out front?
What makes you think he's a gangster?
The Italian suit and the bulge in his pocket?
I know plenty of men with Italian suits and bulges in their pockets. That doesn't necessarily make them gangsters.
Are you here in Paris on vacation?
No, darling, I'm on holiday. I needed to get away after Algy's funeral.
I didn't realize you were mourning the loss of a loved one.
I'm not. He was my husband.
I'm sorry to hear about your husband's death.
You wouldn't be if you knew him, my dear. It gave me the opportunity to take a well-deserved holiday. Daphne suggested a change of scenery. Paris, she said. The wild romance is just what you need to take your mind off the inquest. Well, the closest I came to romance was being wooed by a drunken Breton chef. I must say I was disappointed with his coq au vin. Not at all what I was expecting. I was thinking of cutting my holiday short, packing my bags and heading back to Hemel Hempstead. That was until last night.
What happened to you last night?
I was stricken, Mr. Stobart. Cupid's arrow has cleft my bosom.
They couldn't really miss.
It was just as I'd always imagined it should be. The intimacy of candlelight, romantic music tinkling across the room, and then a stranger's glance. Those brooding eyes, that suave manner, those tight trousers. He was the man I'd been waiting for all my life.
I'm glad he finally turned up after all these years.
Ah, but it wasn't to be. He was merely toying with my affections. And if I ever catch up with him, he's dead.
Who was the guy who led you on?
His name is Merlin.
Do you know what this is?
At a guess, I'd say it was a clown's nose.
That's right. It was worn as a disguise by a vicious killer.
Good heavens, are you trying to alarm me?
It's true. He uses the name Khan. Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
My God, it's him! That's Merlin!
She represented everything I loved about the English. The lady was totally deranged. Merlin? You mean King Arthur's wizard?
Good heavens, no! Monsieur Merlin is a fellow guest. He's the man I've been telling you about. That's the man who spurned me.
The man you know as Merlin is a fake.
What do you mean, sweetie?
He's a murderer. He also uses the name Khan.
I am shocked, Mr. Stobart. Shaken. I took him to be a gentleman, a man of honor. You know, I'd rather like to assist you in stitching him up.
When did you last see Merlin?
It was no more than an hour ago. He came downstairs and spoke to that clerk chappie. Something passed hands. I couldn't see what exactly.
A briefcase?
No, smaller than that. A bundle of papers, perhaps. The clerk put it in the hotel safe and Merlin went out.
Are you sure you saw Merlin putting documents in the safe?
Yes, darling, positive.
I wonder what they were.
Obviously something of great importance.
Yeah. I'd sure like to get my hands on whatever it is. I'll bet they had something to do with Plantow's briefcase. Has Merlin returned to the hotel?
No, he hasn't. Are you going to search his room?
If I could get in there, I would. Can you think of any use for this tool, ma'am?
Oh, I can think of someone I'd like to use it on.
I have to go, ma'am. Excuse me, didn't I see your picture in the news? You're that Nobel Prize winner from some unpronounceable Eastern European state.
Yes, that is me, in person.
I don't want to worry you, but have you had any threats on your life? You know, mysterious phone calls, letters made up of headlines cut from the newspaper.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Do you know a guy called Plantow?
I don't know anybody in Paris.
Oh, well, this guy's dead anyhow.
Why do you ask me about dead men? I have seen enough of death to last me a lifetime.
I'm, sure you have. Have you seen a clown?
I beg your pardon?
The clown. A guy in funny pants. Have you seen him?
My pants are from England, Marks and Spencer. They are a pleasure and a comfort to wear, with much support.
I'm real glad to hear that. You know, it's good to know you Nobel Prize winners are human too.
In my country, the people make do with string and egg cartoons.
For pants?
For everything. Oppression is the mother of ingenuity.
Do you recognize this man? He calls himself Khan.
Yes, I know this man. Why do you carry his photograph?
I'm a private detective. What's your interest in Khan?
He is an enemy of my people.
You know he's a killer.
Of course, amongst other things.
Would you help me investigate Khan?
That is not possible. My instructions are to observe. I cannot jeopardize my position as an honored guest of this country's government.
May I shake you by the hand?
I do not shake the hands of imperialist dogs.
Now that's a real bad attitude problem you've got there. Thanks for your help.
Goodbye.
Hanging from a brass hook was a key and a plastic tag.
Excusez-moi, monsieur.
What?
You were trying to steal that key, no?
No way. The clerk wore a disdainful expression like he'd been born with it. It was the register of guests staying at the hotel. I want some information.
Who are you, the police?
I'm conducting a private investigation.
Ah, I know only too well what you mean. That is one of the drawbacks of the catering business. When people book into an hotel, they leave their morals at home, no?
I'd like to retrieve something from your safe.
Ah, oui, monsieur. May I see some form of identification?
Like what?
A driving license, perhaps?
I don't drive.
Your passport?
I don't have it with me. I could show you my operation scar.
I'm sorry, monsieur. I must have some form of unique ID.
You won't find a more unique ID than my scar.
I'm sorry. I must insist on a more traditional identification.
Rats. Do you know a man named Plantow?
No, monsieur.
I'm looking for a man who dresses like a clown.
This is a highly respectable hotel, monsieur. There are no clowns here.
If you say so. About the key hanging on the hook over there.
Oui, monsieur.
Which room is it for?
Number 21.
Is that room taken?
No. The guests checked out this morning.
I'd like to check into room 21.
That is not possible.
How come? You said it was vacant.
It is reserved for another guest.
Rats.
No, monsieur. Dutch.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
Yes, monsieur. That man is one of our guests.
What name?
I cannot tell you that.
Can you tell me which room the man in the photograph has taken?
Oh no, monsieur. That information is confidential.
Hey, shake my hand.
I'd rather not, monsieur. I'm still sore from the shock administered by one of the guests. He was secretly concealing an electrical device in the palm of his hand. Practical jokes are so puerile, don't you think?
Oh, yeah, sure. Thanks for your help, buddy. Hi, ma'am.
Hello, George. What can I do for you now?
Would you distract the clerk while I borrow a key?
Are you asking me to aid you in a criminal act, darling?
Oh, no. It's the key to an empty room.
And why, may I ask, do you wish to gain access to an empty room? Do you plan to squat?
No, ma'am.
Scouts honor?
I was never in the Boy Scouts, ma'am.
No, you should have been. What were your parents thinking of? It's a fine way for a boy to get licked into shape. Now tell me, why do you want to get into that room?
It's next to the room the killer is using.
Ah, so you plan to eavesdrop on Merlin?
I was hoping there might be a connecting door.
I shouldn't think my feminine charms would be much use in this case, but a good dose of English arrogance might do the trick. I say, you there, flunky.
Oui, madame.
Listen carefully. You do understand English, don't you?
But of course, madame.
Good. I wish to deposit some jewelry for safekeeping.
I understand.
Are you quite certain?
Oh, bien sûr, madame.
Over to you, my dear.
There was no one registered under the name of Khan, but the name in the book for room 22 was Merlin. The clerk wore a disdainful expression, like he'd been born with it. The sign on the door read 21. Maybe it wasn't the right room, but this was the right key. There was nothing in the wardrobe apart from a vague, lingering smell of camphor. The cabinet was empty, but it smelt of onions. No kidding, it really did. The cobbles of the alleyway looked very distant and very hard. The assassin had been too smart to leave incriminating evidence beside his bed. The bed was several times larger than the narrow cot I'd been given at the place I was staying. It was the battered leather briefcase I'd seen Plantar carrying just before he died. I searched the interior of the briefcase, but as I'd half expected, it was empty. The interior of the closet was large enough for me to climb right in. I had the kind of feeling in my stomach that would usually send me running to the bathroom. The pants matched the jacket which the killer had lost in Paris. I couldn't believe my luck when I found two items in the pockets of the pants. The first was an ordinary matchbook. No matches, no clues. The second was a pass card which read, Thomas Merlin, Gruber Electronics Corporation. There was nothing else in the pockets of the killer's pants. The matchbook bore a pattern of swirling color and the words, Club Alamut. It was the card I'd found in the hotel bedroom. It read, Thomas Merlin, Gruber Electronics Corporation.
What now, monsieur?
Does this matchbook mean anything to you?
Non, monsieur.
Does this pass mean anything to you?
That is Monsieur Merlin's property.
That's right. Merlin the murderer. I want to see what he's left in your safe.
Impossible. I cannot betray his confidence, no matter what you say he's done.
You're making a big mistake.
Maybe. I can live with that.
Thanks for your help, buddy. Hello again. Do you recognize this card?
No, I do not.
Does the name on this matchbook mean anything to you?
Indeed it does, for Alamut was the home of the old man of the mountains. You do not know him?
No, I don't. Tell me again about Alamut.
It is the home of the old man of the mountains.
Thanks for your help.
Goodbye.
Hi, ma'am.
Hello, George. What can I do for you now?
I found this matchbook in Merlin's bedroom.
It came from the Club Alamut. It might be useful to find out if that club is in Paris, George.
I got the key. Thanks for your help, ma'am. I found this pass in Merlin's room.
So, that deceitful little man is passing himself off as an electrician, is he?
Uh-huh. This guy probably has a million faces. I showed the pass to the clerk, hoping he'd give me Merlin's papers, but he wouldn't buy it. He's too scared.
I'll give him something to be scared of. Follow me, George! Did you place a package from Merlin in the hotel safe?
I did, madame.
And did my friend here show you Merlin's identification?
Indeed he did, but
What's the problem?
he isn't Merlin.
A mere academic detail. Give him the package.
But that is against the law.
I happen to be a justice of the peace, you silly man. I am the law. If he tries anything, shoot him, George.
My pleasure, Lady Piermont.
One moment, please.
You know, I haven't enjoyed myself this much since Greenham Common.
I don't know what I would have done without you, Lady Piermont.
Voilà, monsieur. Le manuscrit de Monsieur Merlin.
Thanks.
How satisfying. An Anglo-American alliance that actually worked.
The clerk had given me a tightly rolled sheet of parchment. I decided not to unroll it until I was safely back in Nico's apartment.
Bonjour, couleur.
Hi, it's George. I have the address of the killer's hotel.
If you're going to pay him a visit, take care. Remember, that guy's a professional.
Thanks. I'll be fine. Hey, I've got something awesome to show you.
Oh, yeah? What is it?
A surprise.
Oh, I don't like mysteries, George.
I can't tell you just now, but I'll come show you soon.
Just a minute, monsieur.
What's your problem?
No problem. If you cooperate.
What do you want?
Just a routine security check. Nothing to worry yourself about.
Oh, well, all right.
Search him, Flash.
You bet.
Hey, knock it off. Get off, you big ape.
Is this what you're after, Guido?
See, that's she.
I can explain everything. Well, almost everything.
Too late. You're on your way to feed the fishes.
I'm allergic to fish. I break out in blotches when I eat tuna.
Let's go.
I knew this was no way to treat an ancient manuscript, but I couldn't let it fall into the hands of the goons waiting outside.
Just a minute, monsieur.
What's your problem?
No problem, if you cooperate.
What do you want?
Just a routine security check, nothing to worry yourself about.
Oh, well, all right.
Search him, Flap.
You bet.
Hey, knock it off. Get off, you big ape.
Nothing, Guido. Zilch.
Our apologies, monsieur.
What? I had to report you to the authorities.
Round here, we are the authorities.
You want I should break his arms?
No. Let him go, Flap.
If the manuscript was what Flap and Guido were after, they were going to be disappointed. I couldn't wait to get back to Nico's apartment and check it out. You're just not going to believe what I found.
It's not another part of the clown's costume, is it?
It's a medieval manuscript. Khan left it in the safe at the U-boot.
It's incredible. Is this what he took from Plantark?
It could be, which means it's worth enough to kill for.
Look there, two guys on the same horse.
Oh, yeah. Maybe they couldn't afford one each. What of it?
Have you ever heard of the Knights Templar? Their official seal was an image of two knights sharing a horse. Whatever this manuscript means, it's connected with the Templars.
How come you know about these knights?
I learned about them while writing an article on the Crusades. This guy, named Hughes the Pagan, arrived one day at the court of King of Jerusalem. He offered to protect the Christian pilgrims from the displaced Muslim armies. The king would be able to guarantee safe transit to Christians in the Holy Land. Safer journeys meant more pilgrims, and pilgrims meant trade and wealth. The Templars proved invaluable to the king as a mercenary army. It was said that they never asked how many the enemy numbered, just where they were. And as the years went by, the Templars grew in wealth and numbers. They were so rich, even kings came to them for loans. But at the height of their power, they fell foul of the King of France. He rounded them up and turned them over to the Inquisition. Thousands of Templars were subject to torture and confessed to heresy. Of course, at the hands of the Inquisition, there wasn't much they wouldn't confess to. The last Grand Master Jacques de Molay was burned alive. But the treasure of the Knights Templar was never found.
Jeez. So the treasure is hidden, waiting to be discovered?
If there ever was a treasure, it's been lost for 600 years. Anyway, we're supposed to be investigating a serial killer, not a medieval treasure trove.
But maybe that's what the clown and his accomplices are after. Maybe this manuscript is the key.
You'd better leave it here for safekeeping. Think about it, Josh. One guy's already died for it, as you said yourself. Besides, that parchment is fragile.
Okay, okay, I'm convinced. You keep hold of it. What are you doing to help trace the killer clown?
Research, George.
Yeah? You have a copy of the clown's yearbook?
I have a telephone and lots of contacts.
Oh, well, did you find anything useful?
Not yet. I'm employing my first and most useful weapon.
What's that?
Patience.
Oh, I've heard of that. Isn't it a substitute for decisive thinking? Have you found out any more about the murders?
Well, it may be nothing, but both the clown's victims visited Paris earlier this year.
When?
The second week of July. They were both here at the same time.
Did they meet?
I don't know, but I can't imagine it was coincidence.
I found Plantow's briefcase in the killer's hotel room. It was empty, of course. I found this matchbook in the killer's hotel room. It's from the Club Alamut.
Never heard of it. Is there anything written inside it?
No, what were you expecting?
If this was a movie, there'd be a clue, a name or an address. That's no use. There aren't even any matches in it.
Oh well, I'll keep it as a souvenir. I found this in the killer's room.
What is it, a credit card?
ID, Thomas Merlin, of the Gruber Electronics Corporation.
Never heard of him or the company.
Let's take another look at the manuscript.
Let's face it, we need help, George. Someone who knows about these things.
Who do you suggest? Indiana Jones?
I know a guy who specializes in medieval studies. His name is Lobino.
Huh. Some stuffy old fossil who gets horny over ancient relics, I suppose.
Far from it. Andre isn't the stereotypical professor you have in mind.
Where can I find this Lobino guy?
At the Krohn Museum. I'll give you the address.
There's a woman looking at her reflection in a mirror, but the reflection has 3 hideous faces.
She reminds me of the wicked queen in Snow White.
She was the one who said mirror, mirror on the wall, wasn't she? She made me cry so much when I was a kid, Mom carried me out of the movie theater.
She didn't frighten me in the least.
Like I said, I was only a kid. I didn't like the crocodile in Peter Pan either. A knight with a crystal ball. Now, there's something written on the scroll beside the knight.
Yes, but it's written in Latin. Per disciplinam mea lux videbis.
By my teachings, you will see the light.
You speak Latin? Where did you learn a trick like that?
A trick? I studied law, okay? I can read Latin.
My, you're touchy. Tell me that again.
Through my teachings, you will be enlightened. There's a guy working on a loom. He's weaving a carpet or a tapestry.
Or a duvet cover. It's a clue to a place, I reckon. Somewhere famed for weaving and ships.
Where folk live in barrels?
It beats copper boxes.
There's a guy with a sword and a bull.
The only mythological bull I know of is the Minotaur, but he was only half bull.
I don't think I'd like to be half a bull, even if it was the bottom half.
What's that object between them?
It looks like a gem on top of a tripod. The guy at the novelty shop gave me this.
What is it?
A hand buzzer. You put it in your hand and give people electric shocks.
Why?
It's a gag, a practical joke.
If you ever use it on me, I'll break your arm.
Okay, okay. I get the picture. Maybe I'll check out the Krohn Museum.
I'm sure you'll find it useful, George.
Oh, hi.
Hello, my handsome friend.
Does this matchbook mean anything to you?
No, but I can tell you one thing. There's no such place as the Club à la Mue in Paris.
Can you tell me anything about this security pass?
I can tell it doesn't belong to you.
How come?
Give me some credit. If you're an electrician, I'll eat my antirrhinums.
You're a remarkably talented lady. Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
What a hunk.
He's a killer.
I can see that. His eyes say it all.
Would you like to shake my hand?
No, I wouldn't. I can see the future, remember?
See you later.
That's right, monsieur. You will.